I joined the United States Air Force shortly after graduation from high school in 1961. After basic training, I was assigned to the Air Force's Security Service. This video is the first in a series that will be about our lives overseas. Although this background video touches on tech school and my first overseas tour, the remainder of the videos will be about the experiences we had on the island of Crete. Most of us were just out of high school when we joined the service. Often it was the first time in our lives that we could do whatever we wanted within reason. We took advantage of that freedom because we knew that the details of our exploits wouldn't make it to the folks back home. Regardless of how hard we played off duty and off base, we never lost sight of the fact that our jobs were vital to the security of the United States. Accordingly, we approached each day on flight with absolute seriousness as to our mission. At work, we observed and reported on events that shook the world if they appeared in newspapers, and we watched and reported on other events that have never been publicly revealed to this day. As background, in September of 1962, I completed a classified course of study at the Air Force Technical School at Goodfellow Air Force Base. Upon graduation, my Air Force specialty code was 20230, Analyst. This made me, in effect, a spy. As an analyst, my job would be to glean intelligence from intercepted communications and then write the necessary reports for appropriate governments and agencies. And there was no better place to do this than at an overseas security installation. I was sent to Karamsel Air Station, Turkey, for an 18-month tour. 2 weeks after I arrived, President Kennedy ordered a blockade of Cuba. Intelligence reports had shown that the Soviets were deploying missiles to the island. Obviously, from that location, they could very easily strike the United States. This missile crisis resulted in a heightened state of alert for us in Turkey, and consequently, we were restricted to base for a while. Washington demanded that the Soviet missiles be removed from Cuba. In turn, the Soviets had a major problem with U.S. missiles that were stationed next door to them in Turkey and wanted them removed. During this crisis, negotiations between Washington and Moscow were at best threatening. I remember laying in my bunk during that time thinking that a little over a year ago I was a senior in high school, and now I have a front row seat to world events that could possibly end civilization. It was a scary time for us all. Against this unfolding crisis, I learned the practical aspects of being an analyst. The tension was relentless as the world stood on the brink. Although I was a brand new analyst, still peeing stateside water as the saying went, I was amazed that it was us and others just like us at security installations around the world who were gathering and reporting the intelligence that could result in a world crisis. That's when I realized that the responsibility we had was enormous. World tensions eased as Moscow and Washington reached an agreement on the missiles. By the end of that month, restriction to base ended. At one of the first opportunities to leave base after the crisis, a friend and I decided to go to Uludağ. That's a ski resort located south of base near Bursa, Turkey. I wanted to try my hand at snow skiing. Unfortunately, I broke my leg. I was on crutches for months after that mishap and wasn't able to get around much. Then, just as I got rid of my crutches and cane and was ready to start having some fun, President Kennedy was assassinated and the base again returned to restriction. After that restriction was lifted, there were a few uneventful trips to explore Buyukada, see the pavilions and other places of interest in Istanbul and Bursa, and even longer trips, such as to the national capital of Ankara. Overall, life in Turkey was alright, but it was mostly boring and routine. Very few GIs had a vehicle, so mostly we were limited to the occasional Tuslog bus ride into Yalova, or if we had some cash, a taxi ride. Yalova was where we drank raki and learned that we could use it in our lighters if we were out of lighter fluid. We also had Turkish wine and, of course, ekmek. Yalova was also where we caught the Istanbul ferry. As the end of my tour at Karamürsel approached, I applied for what was called the 2T program. This program guaranteed that an airman first class would be promoted to staff sergeant if he agreed to serve a consecutive overseas assignment. The program was designed to keep highly skilled people overseas. I didn't want to spend the rest of my enlistment in the United States, so I jumped at the chance to stay in Europe. Consequently, I was accepted into the program. After a quick one-week trip to San Angelo, Texas for debriefing and a one-week stay at Dover Air Force Base's infirmary because of illness, I reported to Iraklion Air Station Crete on May 1st, 1964. Believe me, I was ready to have some fun.